The text came through in the middle of a client meeting. Your dogs needed a better home with people who actually care about family. I found them one. Maybe now you'll learn what matters. My hands went numb. My stomach dropped. I excused myself and stepped into the hallway, barely managing to hit call before my fingers shook the phone from my grip. Amanda answered on the first ring, smug as ever. "What did you do?" My voice came out in a whisper, too thin to hold the weight of my rage. "What I should have done months ago," she said, self-righteous and pleased with herself. "Those dogs took up all your time. You missed Tommy's birthday party for a dog show, Elizabeth. A dog show. Do you know how much that hurt him? He's your nephew." I pressed my free hand against the wall, trying to steady the world tilting beneath me. "Where are my dogs, Amanda?" "Safe, with a family who'll love them the way they deserve. A real family, not just a woman who cares more about ribbons than people." I couldn't breathe. My 3 Australian shepherds, Shadow, Luna, and their daughter, Storm, weren't just pets. They were my family, my partners, my world. I'd raised Shadow from a puppy, trained Luna when everyone said she was too stubborn, and watched Storm take her first unsteady steps in my living room. "Amanda, those dogs are worth thousands of dollars. They're champion show dogs. You can't just give them away." She scoffed. "Of course that's what you care about, the money. Well, too bad. The family has kids who'll actually play with them instead of treating them like trophies." The call ended before I even realized I'd hung up. I tried my brother Jack next, straight to voicemail. By the time I reached home, my key still worked, small mercies, but the house was wrong. Silent, hollow, no eager barks, no clicking paws on the hardwood. Their beds were gone. The cabinet where I kept their food, their leashes, their grooming tools, empty. Amanda had been working toward this moment for months. Every family gathering was an ambush. "The dogs always come first with you," she'd sneer. "Must be nice to have so much free time for hobbies while the rest of us focus on family." She never understood. After our parents died in that accident 5 years ago, my dogs were what kept me anchored. Jack had understood at first. He'd even helped me pick out Shadow. Then he married Amanda, and suddenly my life was a problem that needed fixing. But Amanda had just made the biggest mistake of her life. I dialed the police. The officer who arrived took one look at the paperwork, registration, competition records, valuation certificates, and nodded. "This isn't a family dispute. This is felony theft." $47,000 worth of stolen property, I clarified, voice steady now. "Do you have proof she admitted to it?" I pulled up Amanda's text, then played the voicemail she'd left. "The dogs are gone, Elizabeth. Deal with it. Maybe now you'll remember what family really means." The officer exhaled sharply. "That'll do." Next, I called Mary Chen, my lawyer. "Send me everything," she said the moment I finished explaining. "She put this in writing. Good. That's airtight. If she sold them, she just opened herself up to fraud charges on top of grand theft." As I scanned documents, my phone lit up again. "Amanda." "The police? Really?" She actually laughed. "Way to prove my point. Jack is so disappointed in you." I didn't rise to it. "Where are my dogs, Amanda?" "Safe and happy. The family promised to give them a good home. A normal home, not your obsessive show dog prison." I let the silence stretch until her bravado cracked. "Amanda," I said evenly, "those dogs are microchipped. Registered. Their bloodlines and titles are documented. What you did isn't just cruel. It's a crime. So I'll ask one more time. Where are my dogs?" The quiet on the other end was long and fragile. Then finally she muttered. "They answered an ad. Paid cash. They said they lived near Springfield." I hung up. Then I got to work. By morning, every breeder, rescue, and dog show community in the state would know about my stolen champions. Their microchips would be flagged. The police would be knocking. Amanda thought she was teaching me a lesson. She had no idea the storm she just unleashed. By morning, my posts about the stolen champions had gone viral in the dog show community. My phone was a constant buzz of messages from handlers, breeders, and judges. The Australian Shepherd world was tight-knit. News of stolen champions spread like wildfire. The first call came from Jessica, my longtime handling mentor. "Your SIL did WHT," she practically shouted. "I've already alerted all the major registries. If anyone tries to rehome them or change their names, we'll know. The police had launched their investigation, but I wasn't waiting. My living room had become a makeshift command center, laptop open, phone charging, a map pinned with every potential location within 2 hours of Springfield where someone might be keeping 3 high-value show dogs. Then, around noon, my brother Jack finally called. "Elizabeth, this has gone too far," he started, his voice tense. Amanda was just trying to commit grand theft. I cut in. To steal and sell off 3 dogs worth over 40 grand? To throw away years of training and careful breeding? "They're just dogs," he snapped. "This is exactly what Amanda meant. You care more about them than your own family." I exhaled slowly, gripping my phone. "Those just dogs are my livelihood, Jack. Storm's puppies alone would be worth thousands each. But let's talk about family, because yours just committed a felony." "You wouldn't actually press charges," he said, but I heard the doubt creeping in. "Watch me." An hour later, I got the call I'd been waiting for. Helen Martinez, who ran the state's largest Australian Shepherd rescue, was on the line. "One of my volunteers thinks they saw your dogs. A family brought 3 Aussies into our vet clinic yesterday for checkups. Said they'd just gotten them from someone online." My heart pounded. "Do you have an address?" "Better. They're coming back at 2 for vaccinations. The vet already scanned their microchips. They match yours." I barely managed to thank her before dialing Officer Roberts. "We'll meet you there," he assured me. "Don't approach them alone." The next 2 hours crawled. Amanda called again, but I let it go to voicemail. Her message was panicked now, the smugness gone. "Elizabeth, please. I didn't know about the microchips. The family seemed nice. They have children. Just call me back, okay?" I didn't. At 1:45, I parked across from the clinic. The officers arrived shortly after, keeping a low profile. At 1:55, a white SUV pulled in. My breath caught. Through the windows, I saw them. Shadow, Luna, and Storm. My champions, my family. What followed was a blur of flashing lights, confused explanations, and my dogs lunging toward me in relief. The family who had them looked stunned as the police questioned them. The woman said she was helping her sister rehome them. The husband told the officers, shaking his head. She seemed so sincere. Said the dogs needed a real family, a normal life. As the police took statements, I checked each dog. Storm's perfectly maintained coat was a disaster. Luna was trembling from stress. Shadow, always my protector, refused to leave my side. Then my phone rang. "Amanda." I answered this time. "The police just left our house," she said, her voice tight with panic. "Elizabeth, please. I didn't know about the felony charges. I thought I was helping." "Helping who?" I asked coldly. "Yourself? Your ego." "I thought the dogs would be happier," she insisted. "The family had kids, a big yard." "Happier?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Shadow has hip dysplasia and needs medication. Luna has dietary restrictions. Storm was training for national championships. But you didn't think about that, did you? You just wanted to punish me." There was a pause. Then a whisper. "What do you want?" "Not from you, Amanda. You already made your choice." "Jack says you're pressing charges," she choked out. "Please. I could lose my job if I have a felony on my record. You should have thought of that before stealing 3 champion show dogs. They're back now. Everyone's fine. Can't we just move on?" I looked at my dogs. Storm curled into her travel bed, Luna finally settling, Shadow resting his head on my shoulder. They weren't fine, and neither was I. "No, Amanda, we don't just move on from this." I hung up. Officer Roberts approached with paperwork. The family's given a full statement, with the texts, voicemails, and proof of value. The DA's moving forward with charges. I nodded. Good. A text from Jack popped up. "Mom would be ashamed of you for doing this to your family." I exhaled, steady and sure, before typing back. "No, Mom would be ashamed of you for defending a thief just because you married her." As I drove home, Shadow sighed against my shoulder, Luna dozed, and Storm stretched into her rightful place. Everything was back where it belonged. Well, almost everything. A new text flashed on my screen. "Mary, my lawyer. DA's office is proceeding with charges. They're offering a plea deal. Want to hear it?" I smiled. The lesson wasn't over yet. The DA's office gave Amanda a choice: face felony charges for grand theft or take a plea deal. Misdemeanor charges, 2 years probation, mandatory counseling, and full restitution for damages to the dogs. She'll also have to issue a public apology, Mary said, sliding the agreement across her desk. The DA understands the impact this had on your reputation in the show community. I scanned the terms. The restitution covered Storm's missed championship, grooming to restore their coats, and vet bills for Luna's stress-related issues. She's already spinning this to the family, I muttered. Telling everyone I'm choosing dogs over family harmony. Mary's lips quirked. That's why the apology matters. No more playing the victim. Amanda took the deal. She had no choice. The evidence was airtight, and her school district had already placed her on administrative leave. The morning of her court appearance, I sat in the back of the courtroom with Shadow at my feet. As a registered therapy dog, he had every right to be there. More than that, I wanted Amanda to see him, to understand exactly what she tried to throw away. She looked small standing before the judge. Gone were the designer outfits and practiced confidence. Jack wasn't with her. The strain of the charges and legal fees had taken its toll. Mrs. Walker, the judge addressed her. Do you understand the terms of your plea agreement? Yes, Your Honor. Her voice barely carried. Please make your statement for the record. Amanda swallowed hard. I apologize for taking Elizabeth's champion show dogs without permission and giving them away. I understand now that they weren't just pets, but valuable working dogs with special needs. My actions were wrong and caused significant harm. I will pay restitution and accept the consequences of my actions. The judge nodded. Let the record show the defendant has agreed to 2 years probation, mandatory counseling, and restitution in the amount of $28,000. Outside the courtroom, she tried to approach me. Elizabeth, please, can we talk? Shadow shifted slightly in front of me, his presence steady, protective. Amanda hesitated, finally seeing him for what he was, not just a dog, but a trained partner, a guardian, family. There's nothing to talk about, I said. You showed me exactly who you are. The only reason you're sorry is because you got caught. The family is falling apart because of this, she pleaded. Jack barely speaks to me. Tommy keeps asking why his aunt hates us. I met her gaze, unflinching. You did that, Amanda. Not me. You thought you could control me by taking what I loved most. How's that working out for you? Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't wait for an answer. I turned and walked away, Shadow at my side. 6 months later, life had found a new rhythm. Storm finally earned her championship. Luna's stress had eased, and Shadow remained my unshakable rock. The dog show community rallied around me. I even gained more handling clients, people who respected how fiercely I'd fought for my dogs. Jack and Amanda separated. He tried reaching out a few times, but I wasn't ready. Maybe one day. For now, the distance was healing. As for Amanda, she completed her counseling and took a job in another school district. Her court-ordered apology had gone viral locally. Turns out I wasn't the only one she manipulated with guilt and control. One quiet evening, I lounged on my back porch, watching Storm play with her new puppies while Luna and Shadow supervised. My phone buzzed. A text from my old neighbor. Your SIL was just at your old house. Didn't know you moved. Brought a casserole. Said something about making amends. I glanced at my dogs, safe, happy home. Shadow caught my eye, trotting over to rest his head in my lap. Thanks for the heads up, I replied. Some lessons take longer to learn than others. Maybe Amanda would figure it out someday, that real family, whether human or canine, is built on trust, respect, and acceptance. But until then, I had everything I needed right here. Shadow sighed contentedly as I scratched behind his ears. In the yard, Storm guided her pups through the practice poles, while Luna watched attentively. Champions, all of them, in more ways than one. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose, the one that chooses you back every single day. Amanda never understood that. But I did, and I had no regrets.